Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the DI Optical FC1 optic. This is probably my most asked question from all my following is the questions about the DI Optical optics, mainly because there's really not a lot of reviews or videos out there on these optics. So people a lot know that I run these a lot, mainly on this gun. I've been running these for about 1.5 to 2 years now. So I've got a ton of rounds through these. And now that I've got a lot of rounds through them, I want to give you guys a review and let you know what I think of this optic. Before we start, DI Optical did send me these FC1 optics. I did not pay for these. I have purchased other optics from them in the past, but these ones were sent to me. So my first thoughts on the FC1 is this is probably my favorite optic that DI Optical makes. It's a very small optic. It's very rugged. Like I said, I've been running it on the Zeus here, which we'll run this one here. I've been running on this one for 1.5 years now. Got a ton of rounds through it. I honestly have no clue how many rounds through it, but a lot. And as you guys know, I'm not really nice to my guns or my optics, so I like to run them as they should be, so you guys can really get an idea of how durable these things are. Have not had to replace the battery yet. It has a 5,000 hour battery life, has a side compartment right here where the battery comes out, held by 2 screws. I have had none of these walk, which might be an issue to some people when you see that it's screws. But I have not had any walking or anything issues with the screws that are on the outer shell of this optic, which is good. So the only thing that I've had an issue with walking is the mount itself, which we'll go over here in a second. So durability-wise, it's a very durable optic. One of my favorite things about it is the size, because this can fit your AR pistols really nicely, your subcompacts, and it still looks nice on your full-size rifles. But I mainly put them on my pistols just because it's a smaller optic. When you get something bigger and you throw it on something this size, it can kind of look goofy. So for me, I really like the size of this optic. It doesn't take a lot of room and it fits well on the gun. So you've got a screw here. You can use this as a quick detach mount if you want to hand tighten it. It's got like a tactile gripping on the sides, but it has cutouts here for either a flathead screwdriver, but it does come with a tool that's really easy to manipulate and tighten this. I tighten it with a tool each time because I do not plan on ever removing these, but if you wanted to, you could treat it like a quick detach mount and be able to remove it quickly if you want to. That's completely up to you. The back here is a single button to turn on, so you press it once and you have 14 brightness settings, so you'll have 7 night vision and 7 daylight settings. So it is not have any issues with being not bright enough, being outside. I've shot in all different types, darkness, light. Haven't had an issue. I haven't done any night vision shooting, so if you guys want information on that, you're going to have to find somebody else that does night vision shooting with these. I have not, but I do know they do have night vision capabilities, which is kind of nice to have that option. So it is only a single button, which I don't know if I'm completely sold on the button, honestly. It is nice. You just press once, turns it on, and then you press as many times as you want, and it'll cycle through your settings. I just don't know if I like having the single button. I like to be able to go up and down. So if you want to go down, you have to go up first to go down. So that can be a downfall depending on who you are and if you like that setup. So your windages and elevation are here on the top and the back. They are not covered. So you can either use a back of a shell casing, or again, they come with a tool that you can keep with you. It's pretty small and you can make your adjustments as they're there. And I have not had any issue with them walking around or moving on me, and they are flush with the shell of the gun, or the shell of the optic, so haven't had any issue with those moving. Next, you're going to talk about the mounts. Like I said, this is the only problem that I kind of had was the screws on the bottom have walked on every FC1 that I've purchased. Now, received, sorry. Every FC1 that I've received always has an issue with the screws on the bottom. That's been my experience. I don't know if that's, I smacked the mic, that might have been annoying. That's my experience. I don't know if that's everybody's, but I've always had to tighten them at least once. Haven't had to tighten them twice, but I've always tightened them once. I have asked them about it. They said, if you want to, you can Loctite them if you don't ever plan on removing the spacer in the middle, which is another option here. That's nice, is you have these spacers. So if you ever want to make this shorter, you can take the spacer out, mount it up, and it'll be lower on your gun, depending on your application and what you're putting on. I like it at this height because it does co-witness, so I have that option, and I just like it at a higher location on the gun because it fits my preference better. So you do have the option to remove those spacers or put them up if you want. Now this is a really tiny optic, so the lens in itself, visibility, it is very small. So compared to a lot of different optics, it is quite small. It's in a square formation, so it's a little bit different than a lot of the others. Most ones have a circular, so it's a little bit different. I have not had an issue looking down at thinking that I can't see enough. I haven't had any issue with that at all, so it has been a really good optic for me so far. Now let's go over some specs for this optic. So this is a prismatic sight. It has a 2 MOA dot. This is a really crisp dot. It also says it's supposed to help with astigmatisms. I personally do not have an astigmatism, but everybody that has shot these guns, I've had quite a few people shoot these, all say it has a really crisp dot. I've had one friend that does have astigmatism say it is a really crisp dot, so take that for what it is. I can't give you a 100% definitive answer on that. Beckham. I can't give you a 100% definitive answer on that, but it does have a really crisp dot from what I've been able to tell. So these are virtually parallax free. No optics are parallax free, but they are virtually parallax free. And that's always nice when looking for a good quality optic. They are military grade, which is a huge plus for me. So they do make military optics, and these are also military grade. So that's a really big benefit, knowing that the military does accept these optics. They did make different versions for the military. These are the civilian versions, but they are accepted by the military, and I know a lot of law enforcement that run these. They actually gave me a list of all of them. I don't know them all offhand, but I do know there's a large list of military agencies and law enforcement that run DI optical optics, which is always a benefit when you know militaries run a product. These optics have an auto shut-off feature for them, so if after 10 hours you do not touch or move the optic, it will turn off on its own, which is nice. If you accidentally forget to turn it off, it will save your battery life. They are also waterproof, so I have done a lot of water and freeze testing with these and have had no issues. The water has not caused any malfunctions or failures to the optic, so these are sealed up pretty nicely. Here's the package you'll receive when you purchase your FC1. Take it off here. You have your instructions on top, another protective coating, and then right here you'll pull out the optic itself. And then the side compartments, you'll have your battery, some extra screws. The battery's not in it because I already put it in it. Some Loctite, a cleaning cloth, and that tool I was talking about. So this is kind of a tool that does almost everything for the optic. So I always keep that with me or in my range bag. So let's go over a couple downsides to this optic. So one of them being when you turn this up to a really high setting and it's a lower light, you can see the laser from the other side of the barrel. So if you're looking towards me, you can see the laser from your red dot. So that is a downfall. That's one of the biggest complaints I've heard about these optics. And then the next downfall is going to be they're pretty expensive. So you're looking at about $450 MSRP. You can find them about $350 at Optics Planet. There's a lot of guys that have discount codes as well. I don't have one, but you can find somebody that does. So you can get it for a little bit cheaper than that. So you're looking up at the same price as your MROs and whatnot. So depending on what you want to spend your money on, they are a little on the higher end side. But again, they are a military grade optic. So you're paying for what you're getting. So you're getting a little bit higher quality optic. And like I said, durability is fantastic on these. So those are the two downsides. The next thing that could be a downside is the button setting. So if it's not something that you like being a single button, that could be a downside to you. Doesn't personally bother me. It's not something that I've been like, oh, I don't like this optic anymore because of it. Like I said, I'm still kind of not sold on it, but it's not something that completely turns me off of the optic. So with all that being said, I really like these optic guys. They are very durable, they're rugged, the battery life's good for me, and they've been working really well. So I would definitely recommend these. So if you're looking for an optic for one of your builds, I highly recommend these. Great little optic. Decent price, so depending on what you're looking for and what you can afford. Personally, I think they're perfect for pistol builds because they have a really unique look. Not a lot of guys are running them, and they fit really well on the pistol itself. So if this is something you guys are looking into, make sure you check out DI Optical. They have a lot of different optics as well. I've done some reviews on some other ones. I have almost all of their optics, and I've tested all of them, and there really isn't an optic that I don't like of theirs. There's some that I like more than others. Obviously, like I said, this is definitely one of my favorites, so check them out and see if you guys like some different types. If you don't like the square or the small, they have circular ones, they have larger ones, smaller ones, so they have a wide variety of optics, which is nice because not a lot of optic companies have a huge variety, and Beckham absolutely loves the variety. So variety is really good, and that's always nice when working with a company. So if you guys want to help support me and the page, make sure you guys check out a link down below. It'll take you right to my website. From there, you can use links like Palmetto, Brownells. If you go from there and purchase anything, it gives me a small kickback, and it just helps me out a ton with camera equipment, making better videos for you guys, and being able to afford all the ammo costs and everything else, because I don't get free ammo and all that. So that really helps me a ton. So if you guys do, that'd be awesome. If not, not a problem. Just liking, comment, share, subscribe really helps us out a lot, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.